Alright guys, today we're gonna be reacting to building a house. Masonry, house construction documentary in Germany. I was trying to look for the first part, I couldn't find it though. So if you guys can find the part number one, that'll be amazing. Let's see what's going on here. I saw one of the reactors just reacting to this video in particular, and I wanna see what's going on here. Let's jump in. Rail.
How is a house built? How does that work? We accompanied the complete construction of a typical German single-family home for more than 6 months. We were involved in every important step, from the first floor work to the finished house. In the first part, the earthworks were carried out and the floor slab was cast. Now the masonry work continues.
Part two, I couldn't find the first one. I don't know why.
The floor slab has hardened and the bricks are already there. Now it can start with the masonry. The first step, lay bitumen membrane. It protects the walls from rising damp. For the first row of bricks, a cement mortar has to be mixed, which later becomes as hard as concrete. It serves as an underfill to compensate for differences in height of the base plate. Because the stones must all be at exactly the same level. It starts at the corners. A laser checks whether the height is correct.
A laser? Well, it does make sense.
If the
Straight
first
line, right?
stone sits and is exactly in balance, the next ones are aligned with it. In the other corners it happens the same way.
See, that's the laser, yep.
Of course, all dimensions for wall openings, for example for windows and doors, must also be observed. The masons have the floor plan for this. Here on the south side of the house there is already the first special feature, 3 floor-to-ceiling windows. The row of bricks must therefore be interrupted.
I'm amazed because some of you guys were saying that buying a house in Germany is a little bit in the hard side. Difficult, that is. I'm kind of amazed, I have to say, because some of you guys were saying that it's hard to buy a house over there in Germany. Let me know in the comment section below if you own a house.
Here, just like on the front for the front door. The first row is slowly taking shape. The masons work their way from the corners and put stone by stone. But what kind of stone is that exactly, which is installed here?
We do not work with the external wall insulation system, which is widespread here. Instead, our houses use a so-called Puritan stone, so that's a stone made of clay, in which the thermal insulation is integrated in
Wow, look at that. And it's also efficient, huh?
the stone, with hydrophobic mineral wool.
Yep.
So a solid
Of course it makes sense. Of course it makes sense. Of course. You're saving money here.
stone, 36.5 centimeters thick, with hydrophobic mineral wool as insulation. That means best sound insulation and best building physical properties and also the best thermal insulation.
The bricklayers have made the first course and are already on the second row.
Wow.
So-called
That
thin
quick.
bed mortar now ensures the non-positive connection between the rows of stones.
No way. Please don't tell me you're building the entire house as lead the architecture in one day. Don't tell me this video is gonna be about this, because
Ideal for energy efficient
mad.
building. High-low.
That's the next day.
Forming the corners has the advantage that
I was about to say, like, man, one day that'll be kind of crazy, but it is feasible. It is feasible. I'm not gonna lie, it is feasible.
you can easily lay out the plumb lines for the next rows of tiles. The first working day is done. The next morning they continue with the outer walls. The bricklayers place row after row.
Yeah, I see.
The windows and lintels are installed. And around noon the bricklayers arrived at the last row on.
Yeah, that was very quick. See, they're already 50%, finished. And the outside, that is 50%. This is very interesting because it's more economically feasible. The way they're the way they're used, the material of the blocks seems like a very feasible material, cheap enough, with a good quality.
The ground floor.
I'm telling you, folks.
Finally, the pink styrofoam formwork is laid for the concrete ceiling. The formwork also serves as insulation and remains on the building after finishing the ceiling. At the end of the second working day, the outer walls of the ground floor are ready. Day 3. Today the interior walls are created. Here too, a bitumen membrane is placed under the walls
Wow.
to protect against rising
Impressive,
damp.
right?
The stones are so-called vertical perforated bricks in 2 different versions. For comparison, here both on top of each other. The brick with 17.5 centimeters wall thickness for the load-bearing walls and the narrower brick with 11.5 centimeters for the non-load-bearing walls. The floor plan shows where which stone has to be used. The load-bearing wall.
And the house is relatively big. Not big, I would say average. This is the living room, right? This is the guest room. No, I mean, it's a nice space. It's not bad, though. I would like to really see the
Run right
end
through
product.
the house, between the living room, guest room, kitchen, and the utility room, and once along to the load-bearing living room wall, and the non-load-bearing walls run between the kitchen, living room, bathroom and the utility room. The walls are set up here just like the outer walls. Cement mortar under the first row, exact leveling of the first stones with laser, from the second row on, thin bed mortar, laser, spirit level, plumb line and constant checking ensure exact, straight walls. Finished. The inner walls are standing. Now the base gets a diffusion open seal before the cladding is coming. Day 4. The scaffolding comes. The base is clad and the masons set up pillars throughout the house to support the ceiling elements.
All right.
The next morning, exactly at 8 a.m., the crane stands for the ceiling elements. The ceiling elements, so-called semi-finished part ceilings, are approximately 6 centimeters thick.
Hey, shout out to that guy just relaxing and just doing the machine. I forgot how to call that thing. It's not a forklift.
Ceiling
I
elements,
forgot.
so-called
Well, look at this
semi-finished
guy.
part
Look at
ceilings.
this guy, man. He has the best job in the world. Look at that. He's just relaxing.
Are approximately 6 centimeters thick reinforced concrete slabs, in which part of the necessary reinforcement has already been inserted. They can be laid quickly and flexibly, depending on the size, but then still need to be concreted. For this, the masons insert additional reinforcement bars. Firstly, to optimally connect and consolidate the ceiling with the masonry. Secondly, to join the individual ceiling elements together. This creates a stable, closed concrete ceiling after concreting. Only the access to the stairs remains free and has to be boarded accordingly. Once
nice.
all the reinforcement bars have been laid, everything is connected with wire so that nothing moves during concrete pouring. The ceiling openings for the supply lines, water, heating, electricity which comes to the upper floor also remain free. They get polystyrene covers before concreting. Finished. The concrete for the ceiling can come. A total of approximately 12 cubic meters of concrete flow into the formwork for the approximately 10 by 10 meters ceiling slab. It is important to evenly distribute and prevent air pockets. Therefore, constantly push the concrete back and forth, so that the air can escape. The height must of course also be correct and is constantly checked with the laser.
Laser is very important, huh? Laser is like the how they call it? It's like if you practice an instrument, right, and you've been taking, let's say, piano lessons for a lot of years, and all of a sudden, you're not taking classes anymore. Right? You become proficient enough where you say, you know what, I think I can do this myself. Still, you need something that can hold you accountable, like a metronome, right? Always using the metronome, or using the recordings. The laser is the metronome and the recordings, right? It's the teacher that is always right. Nice.
Done.
There you go.
Now the concrete is compacted with a surface vibrator. The surface vibrator directs high-frequency vibrations into the concrete. This increases the flowability of the fresh concrete. Air pockets rise to the surface and can escape. This gives the concrete its perfect, dense consistency.
There we go.
Finished. Now the concrete ceiling has to harden. 2 days later, the bricklayers start with the upper floor. The construction is the same as on the ground floor. The outer walls are created again with the thermal brick made of Puritan stone with hydrophobized mineral wool. First the corners are created again, then the entire outer walls. However, there are no longer any load-bearing walls inside. All partitions for the master bedroom, dressing room, bathroom, children's room and corridor are built with the narrower, vertically perforated brick with a wall thickness of 11.5 centimeters.
So basically that first floor is the living room and kitchen, probably a restroom. That second floor is just when you have the rooms.
After 4 days, the upper floor is also up.
Yeah, see? There you go.
As a conclusion, only the anchor ring plate is missing. For this, the bricklayers have already put a formwork on the top row of bricks, into which reinforcement bars are now being laid. The anchor ring, as the name suggests, runs like a ring around the entire top edge of masonry. This reinforced concrete construction gives the wall stability. The anchor ring plate is used to absorb and transfer horizontal tensile forces such as wind, ground vibrations and the roof load itself. If the concrete is filled, it must be compacted again with the surface vibrator.
Make sure it's nice and plain.
The masonry work is now complete. The walls of the house stand.
Wow.
Construction time for the 2 floors, 10 days.
Wow, that's not even, I don't even know we can do that in the United States because here it does take some time. It does take some time. Nice job. Nice job. I'm looking forward to just see the next part. Sadly, couldn't find the first part, but it seems that's the first part, right? This one right here. Should we go to that one? So it depends what you guys say. Let me know what you guys see in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.